Welcome back to Inside the Heat. The Heat reached the All-Star break with a 37-14 record, and as they were for most of the season, in second place in the East behind Indiana. After being on the road for a week, most of the team took time off to rest and recover. But for the trio of Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh, it was off to New Orleans to participate in the 2014 All-Star Weekend. This would be their fourth consecutive year being named to the All-Star team as Heat teammates, and it would once again be a weekend full of NBA events, community service, and star-studded performances on the court.
2014 All-Star Game featuring the Big Three of the Miami Heat is going down in the city of New Orleans.
All-Star Weekend would consist of many events, including giving back to the community through NBA Cares.
For us to be able to come in and, spend a little time and be able to help is a treat for us.
For the second time, Chris Bosh participated in the Shooting Stars Challenge, defending his title in true Heat fashion. Did I call it? And for the fourth year, LeBron, Dwayne, and Chris represented the Heat and would take to the court to help the East win their first game in the last 3 years. James before the post.
To be able to have two of my brothers here for the fourth straight year lets me know that we're doing some special things.
The All-Star break, it is over, and it's back to work for the Miami Heat.
LeBron inside the alley. Batman slams it down, and you can call this one good night.
After a win in Dallas, the Heat traveled to Oklahoma City in an attempt to avenge a previous loss at home.
You're at one of the best teams in the league. They're extra fired up because they got Russell Westbrook back in the lineup. The crowd was so fired up.
The other way with the steal of Westbrook.
But the crowd was quickly quieted as Miami's trio took over, combining for as many points as the entire OKC roster.
The slip in the drive.
With less than 6 minutes to play, the Heat had a 14-point lead and was in full control of the game.
My goodness. And he's down. And he is down.
What happens in the back of your mind, you say, well, okay, he's trying to gather himself. But then you see the blood start dripping, which was alarming.
There's a ton of blood on the floor.
LeBron would leave the game and not return, but his teammates finished strong for their brother, handing the Thunder their worst loss of the season.
We knew this was going to be a tough game. They came in our house and beat us pretty good, and we had to respond.
The Miami Heat have confirmed LeBron James has suffered a broken nose.
Back at home, the Heat would be without LeBron to face the Bulls and would replace him in a big way.
Greg Oden is getting his first start as a member of the Heat. Rio inside, two-hand jam on it.
Just think comfort level and being able to put me in that starting lineup, it showed confidence in me.
Oden's presence helped spark the team as they rolled to victory, giving Coach Spo his 300th win. 4 days later, LeBron would be back on the court to face the Knicks and would be sporting a new look.
Out steps this Marvel Comics character with a black mask.
He walks out on the court and he looks like Batman.
But more impressive than his menacing appearance was his performance.
James on the drive.
He attacked the basket. He had 13 field goals. 11 of those field goals were from inside 5 feet.
LeBron finished with 31 points, and Dwayne Wade added 23, helping the Heat knock off the Knicks. Miami went 9-1 in the month of February, and while having success on the court, the team continued their fun off the court.
LeBron surprised us yesterday with a WWE belt, and it's probably one of the greatest gifts I've received.
There's Kids Day. They see you gave everybody all those wrestling belts.
Every year, they do something like that where it shows the camaraderie that they have. This was just the next step in that sort of teamwork network that they have.
The Heat started March in epic fashion in a game that would go down in the history books, starring LeBron James.
On any given night, he can do any amazing thing.
He's got 35 early in the third. He hasn't missed a three yet.
Another three for James. He's 7 of 7 from downtown.
And then he shoots his 8th from somewhere around West Palm Beach.
Can he do it again? Yes! 8 for 8 from Kaboom Town. James off the spin. For the record, LeBron James has a Miami Heat record. Glenn Rice, your record lasted for 19 years and now is number 2.
LeBron James was unstoppable on the court and had the best game of any player to ever wear a Heat uniform.
61 for LeBron James. And this crowd in an uproar.
I wouldn't want to do it in front of anybody else, so my first career 50 was turned into 60. Have it right here at home. That's great.
Welcome back to Inside the Heat. One of the season's high points came on March 3rd when LeBron James scored a career high and franchise best 61 points against Charlotte, breaking Glenn Rice's 19-year-old Heat record. It came in Miami's 8th straight victory, and they hope to carry that momentum into the final stretch of the regular season. But little did we know the season's roughest stretch was about to begin. Going for a 3rd straight title, no easy task, and March proved to be a difficult month as the Heat faced character-building adversity that would ultimately prepare them for the playoffs ahead. Riding an 8-game win streak, the Heat would run into trouble on the road, starting with their first matchup with the Rockets.
The Houston game looked like a loss on the schedule. LeBron just really was not himself in that game.
James against Howard. The long three. Way off.
That's a little understandable to lose a tough game like that on the road, second half of a back-to-back. But going to San Antonio and losing decisively to them and going to Chicago and getting pushed around a little bit, that's when they started to have a little bit more concern.
It's a lot of things you can pinpoint when you're losing. We was playing very well, and then we lost 3 in a row. And we got to turn around.
But Miami's struggle in March would continue as 3 straight losses became 5 losses in 6 games. On the month of March, Miami looks very beatable.
At this moment, we'll either define our season or we'll end our season. It doesn't get any easier for us, having Houston come in our building on Sunday. We just got to figure it out and try to get a win.
Their task would not get any easier, but the Heat was up for the challenge.
This time back to James and throws it down right at Howard.
Fueled by 25 points from Ray Allen, Miami would atone from their loss to Houston.
Ray Allen comes back with a 3.
It was mounting. Every loss that we had, they were all games that were winnable. We just were shooting ourselves in the foot. And tonight we came out and we finished the game as opposed to letting the game slip away from us.
They would carry that momentum over to a win in Cleveland, sparked by a 25-point first quarter from LeBron James.
The idea going into the Cleveland game was energy and focus, and LeBron really embodied that.
There's a steal from LeBron. Look out below.
But while LeBron's offense shined, it was the Heat's signature defense that sealed the win in Cleveland.
Drives in. Blocked again.
In order for us to win, we have to defend. We got to save possessions, and we did that those last 3-4 possessions.
Miami now welcomes the Grizzlies, and that means a familiar face comes to town.
Welcome back, Mike Miller!
I think you saw that night what Heat family means.
Just the camaraderie that they showed on the court before a game. You never see anything like that.
You have to be able to manage all the emotions. And then the 4th quarter, we probably played our best basketball of the game on both ends.
Oh, he had to put some English on the ball there.
It was a needed home win, beating a very good team that was fighting for a spot in the playoffs.
But the next night, Miami would lose their 7th game out of 11 and would look inward for answers.
We do something wrong, it's an excuse. We don't get a stop, it's an excuse. We turn the ball over, it's an excuse. We got to own what we're doing right now, and what we're doing right now,
we need to turn it around. And if we don't play better, we'll be watching the championship at home.
The Heat taking on the Pacers in the biggest game of the regular season.
I thought that was the first one that really did feel like a playoff game.
Way to the basket. George, step around James. Oh, George!
If one of any of 10 things would have gone right in their way, they would have won that game. They weren't beaten down by that loss. Look at the arcs of the season. The Heat loses tough games, they come back together. And that's why you saw them play so well in the next couple of games against Detroit and Milwaukee.
But the game against Milwaukee was special for another reason. Ebony Nettles-Bay, a middle school basketball player battling stage 4 cancer, saw her wish come true to meet LeBron James and the Miami Heat.
1, 2, 3. Basketball is a small part of our lives. The challenges that she's facing every single day, she's the stronger one out of us two. I'm happy I'm in a position to be able to fulfill someone's dream.
Miami closed March on a high note, and while getting ready for the playoffs right around the corner, the Heat won their final regular season showdown against Indiana.
While the Heat wanted to send a message, Miami was really more concerned about playing their best basketball at the end of the season.
And Udonis Haslem, the Heat's all-time leading rebounder, is now also the Heat's all-time leading offensive rebounder.
The opportunity is there to build from there and create a momentum heading into the playoffs.
The mentality becomes more positive when there's adversity, and they always seem to play better when there's adversity. And there's going to be that in the playoffs. That fosters a resolve that championship teams have, and so the Heat have that to fall back on.
And Miami giving Indiana a nice little thumping here.
The Heat finished their 26th regular season with a 54-28 record and the second seed in the Eastern Conference. Now, Miami enters the playoffs ready to take on the challenge of making a fourth straight finals appearance with hopes of winning their third consecutive championship, and that's something that only 3 other franchises have ever done. But if we know anything about this Heat team, it's that they are a special group capable of very special things. We look forward to what's ahead in the white-hot playoffs and another journey that we hope will be memorable. Thank you for watching this special edition of Inside the Heat. I'm Eric Reed.